Welcome to another episode of Get to the Chat Room, where we get together, review movies, and just have fun doing it. So don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe for new content. And without further ado, get to the chat room.
So, yeah, 1986 Vamp, right? So these college kids go on this little adventure, wind up in like a really bad neighborhood, and turns out to be infested with vampires. Like the entire neighborhood is infested with vampires, and then they got to survive the night, kind of thing. Um, which it's almost done in a a comedy, but at the same time, like it's a horror. You know what I mean? It's a horror movie. Um, dude, I fell in love with this movie when I first watched it in the 80s when we were young, you know. And I think that was what almost almost 30, a little bit over 30 years. A little bit over 30 years. And you know, for even when I first watched this movie, fell in love with it. I didn't even know who Grace Jones was, and it's like it didn't matter. She was, I just thought she was awesome. Like she did a really good job. And AJ, I recognize AJ from a couple other movies because he does the waterbed scene in Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, and then he's also he's in a couple. Yeah, AJ.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he dies in the waterbed. You know, when he falls asleep in the waterbed with the TV kind of like on his lap, kind of thing. Um,
No, no, no. That was Johnny. That was Johnny Depp.
was that Johnny Depp?
You think he was in? That was Johnny Depp. AJ, or the actor who played AJ, he was in Nightmare 2. He was Jesse's best friend in Nightmare 2.
Okay, okay. Oh, I just mixed up his death scene with Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just mixed up his death scene, but he was in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, he was.
yeah.
I remember him from Weird Science. That was what popped in my head as soon as I saw him. He
Oh
was
yeah,
one of the bullies. Him and Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
were in
Jr.
Weird Science together as the bullies.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. I can't believe I mixed up the death scene with Johnny Depp
Well, they looked Johnny. Well, they looked the same. They had the same hairstyle. That was like
in
the
that
thing
in the
in the
80s. Yeah,
80s.
yeah. But yeah, that's where I remember this guy from. I remember him from Nightmare on Elm Street and um and this movie Vamp especially. Like I know he was in Weird Science, but I
Yeah.
really remember him from Vamp like more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Grace Jones, like she did Conan, right? She was in one of the Conan, the Conan movie. Was it the Barbarian or the Destroyer?
It was the Destroyer.
Conan the
The second one.
Destroyer, the second. Yeah, I remember. She was in that one. She was also in one of the James Bond movies with Roger Moore and my guy Christopher Walken. Right? Shh.
Was it Roger Moore or was it Timothy Dalton?
I think it was Roger Moore that went up against um, Christopher Walken because she was a bad guy in that movie. She,
Yes.
she plays
Yeah.
she plays like the
She
henchman.
was a villain.
Yeah, she plays the henchman. and View to a Kill. Yeah, A View to a Kill, 1985, with Roger Moore and Christopher Walken.
Yes.
Yeah, and her name was Mayday.
Mayday.
Yeah. So yeah,
1985. Okay, yep.
yeah. So a lot of these people in this movie Vamp stem from the 80s and were really making impact in that time period, and then like that's where I remember them the most from, is because of all of the movies that were coming out and making that deep engravement into me as a kid. So seeing this seeing Vamp again a couple weeks ago was just so nostalgic, and watching Duncan, oh come on guys, yeah. I, I like they're in trouble in this little diner, and he comes out and he's pulling his pants up and he looks at them and it sees the knife, and he's like, whoa, these pipes, they're gonna take a while.
Yeah, I know. The humor was done very tastefully, I have to say. That's what made it fun to watch. It was like, I mean, and you didn't see, like, you thought that the gang that was gonna jump that mess with them. You saw, remember, like
Yeah.
when Keith was looking at the girl and he's winking, and she's looking at the Tootsie or the
Twizzler,
whatever,
yeah.
and then she smiles, and then he sees the teeth, he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
He immediately turned, and he spit his coffee, and I'm like, dude, that was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
So perfectly timed.
Yeah.
And it was like, and right there, I thought, okay, are these the vampires? Like, so they did it. They built up. I mean, even though you knew it was a vampire movie,
right?
I guess, because if you've seen it before, you know it's a vampire movie. But I think they did it very well before they did the reveal. Like, they hinted that Snow and his crew were vampires.
The albino. Yeah.
Yeah, the albino, right? You thought that he was like, oh, this is the first run with the vampires, But
yeah.
It's like you realize, oh, wait a minute, they're not vampires, and it's like, okay, and it was the pacing was that's what I thought was really fun with the movie. The pacing was done very well for an '80s movie.
Yeah.
Or not '80s movie, for a comedy horror.
For a comedy horror, yeah. And
pacing was done well.
That's what, and same thing for me. I like that about this movie was the buildup was nice, and the comedy was just enough to make you laugh, kind of thing, but not too much. And it's like once the horror really starts kicking in, it was like, okay, enough with the comedy, and now we need to get serious, kind of thing. So it was nicely done for me too. I have to agree, it was definitely put together well.
There was a lot of there was and I wish I wrote them all down. I'm gonna watch it again just to catch them again. But there were so many little nods in the movie that, based on its time when it came out, I see future movies carry those same nods. I think of the Sewers, and I thought of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought, the elevator scene where he almost gets killed, right? I thought of Final Destination 2. And it was just little, throughout the movie, the little stuff, the humor, and it was, I don't know, all those. I will say this: the one thing that did annoy me was the ending with the barrels. All the vampires are in their den, whatever, they go to bed, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's barrels and barrels of alcohol or gasoline or whatever, I don't know. And he just starts dumping them, and I'm thinking, why would vampires, if they die from fire, why would you put giant 55-gallon barrels of gasoline, whatever it is, that's flammable? I mean, I don't know. It's just that was, I thought,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I mean, yes, serving alcohol helps in a strip club. That idea, that concept of luring in food, essentially, was a great idea, great concept. Worked in both movies, right? But
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of funny that I'm like, okay, you do realize that if someone lights a match or drops a cigarette, and you clearly don't have enough fire extinguishers, you would think that they would be decked out with fire extinguishers,
Yeah.
total fire prevention protocols, or something. I don't know. And I just thought that was kind of humorous, but
Yeah.
yeah. But maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it was like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, well, let's conveniently put these barrels of gasoline right here in their den.
I think well, we definitely, this movie pick was because of the similarities between Vamp and From Dusk Till Dawn, right? And so one of the things that definitely caught my eye was the fact that at the end of the movie, From Dusk Till Dawn, you see the camera pulls back, and as the camera pulls back, you see the Mayan temple, and so the club, the club is at the very top of this, very top of this temple, and then you realize, that how long they've been around and how long Selma Hayek's character has been doing this. And then I was watching Vamp, and I'm just like, one of the comments made by Vic was that, we've been around a long time, and he goes, "We're everywhere, kid. We're everywhere. Where you gonna go?" And then when AJ meets the Katrina, the head vampire, he goes into her dressing room. He sees this bust, this statue of Nefertiti, and it's like it's done to look like Grace Jones. And so I was just, I can't help but start putting two and two together, and I'm just like, okay, if Grace Jones is Nefertiti, and she's been around for that long, okay, and now here she is, a vampire in the U.S. Vic makes the statement, "We're everywhere. There's a lot, there's a lot of us. We're everywhere." I'm just like making that connection to From Dusk Till Dawn, because that movie takes place exactly the same way that Vamp takes place. These two guys, go to a club. One of them turns into a vampire. The other one has to survive, survive the night. They're at a strip club. The head stripper is the head vampire for like hundreds of years. This place has roots in pyramids. Both of them reference pyramids. So I couldn't help but wonder if Quentin Tarantino, saw Vamp and did his take on it, did a remake of it, did a reboot, or revisit it, and changed it completely, and made up this new story kind of thing, but its roots come from Vamp.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah, I mean, the biggest comparison, just to kind of echo what you said, like it takes place, two guys, well, actually three guys in this case, but so Quentin Tarantino's two guys, right? You have George Clooney's character and his character with the family, and in Vamp you have the two main guys, Keith and AJ, and they bring Duncan along, right?
Yeah.
So you can see that they basically are going somewhere with the intentions of accomplishing something. So Vamp, they go to this strip club looking for a stripper to get into a fraternity. We're in From Dusk Till Dawn. Two guys are meeting at this, titty twister
Yeah.
to make the exchange, right?
Yeah.
But what was really tough, though, in the comparisons, though, like like Quentin's style of directing. This was probably earlier in his career, I believe, right? From Dust Till Dawn was one of his earlier movies.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things that the pacing of Vamp was done. I don't know if it's because of the director, but Vamp paced much better. And where they inserted certain comedies, it made sense. And you could watch Vamp and actually walk away like not taking it too seriously, but understand that they were vampires, right? This guy goes through, Keith goes through a horrible night, right? But in Dust Till Dawn, it's not depicted as a comedy, yet there was a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
Like it almost like they were trying to keep it serious with the whole they're robbers and they don't kill, and they were trying to show you almost like the emotional connection between the father and his children and stuff like that. But then when they get to the bar, it almost like you're trying to keep it real, or trying to keep it more serious, I should say. But it kept swinging to more of a comedic tone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is odd because I thought I would consider Vamp more of a horror movie than necessarily a comedy. It had funny stuff in it, right?
Right.
But I would consider it a horror movie. I thought it was a well put together movie. Dust Till Dawn appears to be an action like horror, I guess, right, or crime, but it puts a lot of elements of comedy in it, which almost go goofy. It's almost goofy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to, like
it's
like the dude with the penis pistol, whatever. Come on, dude.
Sex Machine.
Like really? Sex Machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what is that? It's almost like, okay, let's come up with the weirdest thing a biker guy can have. Boom, we'll put that in there and just put it in there, and then we got to figure out how he's going to use it. It's like, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, I will say that I thought that so I got the Wizard of Oz out of Vamp. Did you catch that? Let's see.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I got some Wizard of Oz references. Can you figure out?
No.
Like, what?
Yeah. Other than Allison, like, no. You're gonna have to help me out on that one.
Okay. So Wizard of Oz reference, right? When they get to the city and the car, they almost get hit by that they almost get T-boned. Remember at the intersection, and he cuts the car
Okay.
quick, and they start going into a spin.
Yeah.
Right, and then when they stop, everything's different, and he goes, "Wow, we're not in Kansas anymore."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah.
So yeah, and then at the end, there's a rainbow,
There is.
and the association of somewhere over the rainbow. There is a city full of vampires.
So
Yeah.
that I was gonna bring that up, right? I was gonna bring that up, but that was a good catch. Because even though I heard what he said, that we're not in Kansas anymore, I didn't catch that as Oz reference. To me, I saw the spin out, and then all of a sudden they're in the bad part of town, and this crazy thing happens, and then at the end, as they come out of the sewer, the rainbow kind of thing, and it's like, are they still stuck in this alternate universe? Like, did that spin out?
Okay.
Yeah, did that spin out take them to this vampire world?
Right. Okay.
I mean, there were so many things that were going through my head. Like, is Keith did Keith and AJ, like, did AJ die in a car accident, and Keith was pulled from the accident, and he's in a coma living this dream?
Oh, okay.
So the spin out, they die, and Keith is in a coma, and now he's living this fantasy, Allison popping up, um, Duncan at the end turning to a vampire, you, Keith,
Yeah.
after you happen to kill a vampire, there happens to be a bow and arrow, like everything works out for this guy to be the hero in his favor, kind of thing. And it's just like, you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just thinking outside the box, thinking, with a twist kind of
Yeah.
thing. In that spin out, did they get into an accident? Did AJ die? And is Keith in a coma living out this fantasy world? A horror fantasy world kind of thing.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know.
I like that spin. That's
Yeah.
interesting. The dream thing is always tough though because you could pretty much dismiss most of the movie then, right? Maybe because the reason why you're thinking of vampires was their initiation was kind of almost like that whole kind of like gothic dark
Yeah.
imagery maybe like that was on his mind that um, and he saw the one fraternity brother with his with the noose on his neck, and he's pretending to be dead. So there's your association with the dead body, and yeah.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah, that's
okay,
with everything that was happening prior to, they walk into Duncan's, and Duncan has an entire staff of students that are, just putting out fake papers. So, and Duncan has this, fake business that's going on. He has a caddy who's doing the announcements, and Duncan is, lining up for whole, and it's like all of those things can be implemented into the bar. It can be implemented into his dream state, because Duncan can be Vic, who wants to be this Vegas host. He wants to be bigger than what he is so bad.
Wow.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? He really wants to be this guy so bad. And it's like, you're never going to be a Vegas host. This is it. It's not going to get any better than this. The students, right? So all the girls that work here are strippers. AJ was calling all of the students, fellow students, trying to get he calls a dancer. He's calling a dancer, trying to get a dancer to take her clothes off. Right? She's supposed to be in
Okay.
college in some kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, maybe modern art dance or whatever. She could be ballet, and he's hey, you're a dancer. The only difference is you have to take your clothes off. Click. You know what I mean? And he keeps calling around and calling these other girls. So there's so much of this this adventure that kind of starts from the very beginning of the movie, and it can be implemented into his dream state. And these guys never walked away from that car accident, you know
That is
kind of
wow.
thing.
That is a very interesting spin on it. I like that though.
Yeah.
It does lend to credibility there.
Yeah.
And obviously Allison's character, right? A deep-seated memory that he had.
Yes.
It sounds like Keith wasn't really on board with the stripper thing. Only that the stripper thing would help with getting into a fraternity, right?
Right.
So like now he digs his subconscious to figure out, okay, who did I really have a good moment with? And it was Allison, right?
Yeah.
Right? He remembers that moment, and she pops up and she's like, you don't remember me, right? And it's like, so now, yeah, wow.
And
That
his
could be it though, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you hear AJ, he's like, I'm gonna follow you through the sewers all the way back to wherever, and I can go to night school.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's his subconscious trying to somehow keep AJ in his life. And it's like, eventually you're gonna have to let him go. You can't do it, because one, the sewers aren't going to run 2.5 hours back to college.
Wow, that's a pretty.
So I
That's a good
mean,
thought though, man. Wow.
it was just a lot that, like you said, that dream state, where I saw it as a dream state, and you saw it as the Wizard of Oz reference, because I didn't catch the rainbow. I didn't catch the rainbow thing You know what I mean? I caught the spin out in the beginning when he
Oh,
says, when he said the whole Kansas thing, but I did not catch the rainbow reference at the end. So,
well, the obviously the spin out thing, that scene does resemble. So it does support your idea of a dream because Dorothy was in a dream, right? She wasn't sure. She was like, "Well, was it a dream or was it real? What was it?"
right.
Right? And in the end, you find out it was just a dream. She was, she went to this place after she bumped her head, and that was that, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's very plausible that this movie, Vamp, took a little bit of that. Obviously he referenced Kansas, so that the spinning definitely was a nod to Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
says that. No, we're not in Kansas anymore. That's classic Wizard of Oz.
After a
So
spin out like that.
I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would make sense that they get into an accident that vehicle actually T-bows them or hits them. AJ dies because I think they get hit because AJ swerves this way and he spins, right? He goes this way.
Yeah.
So he spins so the vehicle would have hit him directly, so that would have killed him.
Yeah.
And then Keith would have been in a coma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and Duncan is just flopping around in the
Yeah.
back seat with no seatbelt on, nothing. He's just hanging out back there. So I mean, he could have easily been thrown from the vehicle. He could have walked away. You know what I mean? He could be bedside kind of thing, still talking to Keith, as they're hauling him off in the hospital kind of thing. And he's, my friend for a week, like he could still be picking up Duncan, you know what I mean? As he's, going into the hospital, like there's just so much of,
like Duncan's presence pops in and out throughout the movie, maybe very similar to maybe Duncan's alive and he's awake and he's talking to him. That's why he pops into the movie
here and there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just finally goes into a coma because Duncan dies, and AJ comes back, after being stabbed with Formica. the wood turned out to be the wood turned out to be what? Fake wood? I don't get it. Like you still took
Fake wood,
yeah, dude. You took a the leg of a chair, through the heart.
Right.
Like your heart's only but so.
Material it is.
Yeah, your heart should just be gone after something that big, gets rammed through your chest. But
Well, I did think it was pretty funny with Duncan's character when they introduce him. This supports your dream idea for the movie. Stereotypically, Asians are really good academically, right? So the fact that Duncan's kind of an idiot, kind of a goofball, right? He's definitely lives a sheltered life, doesn't have a lot of friends, but the fact that they made him he's an Asian guy who has other people doing his homework
yeah,
is kind of an unusual twist, right? Like
yeah,
that doesn't happen. You wouldn't pick that. You would think if anything there'd be kind of like this rich, white guy who's kind of like a Van Wilder who don't really know anything academically.
yeah,
They know how to motivate people to be cool, so they get a bunch of Asians or foreigners to do their homework, right?
yeah.
So kind of like the flip of it, right? There's a bunch of white minority students
Yeah,
hanging out doing his work, and he's like trying to be cool. So
yeah,
I thought that was kind of comical. I was like, oh, that supports the dream idea, right? That would probably not typically happen.
yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, let's wrap this. I'm loving Vamp 100%. 9 out of 10 for me.
Oh, okay. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for me.
All right, that's going to wrap up another episode of Get to the Chat Room. So in the meantime and in between time, keep watching